DreAllDay.com.
Dre Baldwin, DreAllDay.com. Topic of this video: ideas are not strategies. I sent a text message out to my text community. My number is 305-384-6894. By the way, if you want to get my daily motivation text, just text me at that number. I sent the text out about a few days ago from when I'm recording this, probably be a week or so from when you hear it. And I asked the people in my text community, do you want to make more money this year than you made last year? And if so, how much? So naturally, 99% of the responses, people said, yeah, I want to make more money. And most of the people's amounts were like anywhere from double to like 10 times as much money as they made the year before. Some people just gave a dollar amount. They want to make $10,000 more, $5,000 more a month, whatever. But for most people, as I dug into it, that was anywhere from 2 to 10 times as much money as they had made the previous year. And then everybody who responded and gave me a number, I asked them a follow-up question. I said, okay, well, what's your plan for actually making that much more money? Because to double your income that's not something that just randomly happens. That doesn't just you don't just naturally double your income by doing the same things you did before. So what's the plan? So when I asked people this and people started telling me some of the things that they were going to do, I got very concerned with the responses that I was getting, because the responses that people sent back to me, 99% of the responses, people did not actually have a plan. What they had was a bunch of ideas. So for example, I asked somebody said, I want to make $10,000 more per month this year than I made last year. I said, okay, what's the plan for you to make $10,000 more per month this year? And people would say things like, well, I'm gonna get into real estate, or I'm doing Airbnb. Or somebody would say, well, I'm applying for new jobs right now. Or somebody would say, well, I'm starting a business. Another person said, I'm a content creator on YouTube. And I'm like, okay, none of those things is an actual plan. Those are just things to do. And just because you're doing any one of those things, first of all, none of them guarantees a return. Just because you're a YouTuber, or just because you're in real estate, whatever the hell that means, just because you have a job and just because you start a business, none of those guarantee you won't make any money. If any money that was guaranteed, then everybody would be doing it. None of those is guaranteed to make you money. And they're damn sure not guaranteed a certain amount of money. So these are not plans. Those are ideas. An idea is, these are things that I could do to make money. And again, it'd be one thing if 1 or 2 people said this to me, but the reason why I became concerned is because everybody said this. And I got a lot of people in my text community. And I actually do go through and read these texts, and I respond to stuff that people say. And out of all the people that I engaged with who answered this question about making more money and said they're going to make more money and they gave me an amount, I would say 3 people actually had a plan. When I pressed them on it and said, what's your plan? They actually had a plan. I'm going to do this, then this, then this, then this. Now, not to say that just because you have a plan that guarantees you're going to be successful, but I would bet, if I had to bet money on who's going to be successful and who's not, I'm betting my money on the 3 people who had a plan and the people who just had a bunch of random ideas. Because we all know, if you think about it, how many people do you know, if you ask them, how much do you want to make more money next year than you made last year? How many people would say no? Everybody says yes. One person said, I'm good with the amount I made this year, but I want to make more next year. One person said that. And again, a lot of people in my text community, one person said, I'm good with what I got this year. Everybody else said, I want to make more. But they didn't actually have a plan for doing it. So again, everybody says these things. I want to get better. I want to do more. I want to be more. I want to step my game up. I want to work on my game, etc., etc. But do they actually have a concrete way of doing it? For most people, the answer is no, they do not. So just because they said it doesn't mean anything. I got a few people who said, well, I'll see what God has in store for me, or God got me, or I'm just gonna let God take the wheel, or whatever the hell they were saying. Listen, God is not responsible for you making more money next year. There's a bunch of broke people who believe in God too. So believing in God is not a financial plan, ladies and gentlemen. Any of you who was even thinking that, that's not a financial plan. And if any of you was in my text community, you said that, you weren't the only one. There's a bunch of people who said that. They said something about God, what God's going to do. God ain't going to do nothing to make you make more money. All right, that is not a plan. The whole point of this video, though, is many of you really you should look up my videos on strategy. And really, you need to come into my university and learn how to actually strategize, because it became clear to me that a lot of people don't know what strategy means. A lot of people think that they're being strategic just because something has worked out in their favor, so they think they're being strategic when they're really not. Or they think they have a strategy because they got a bunch of ideas that sound good to them and that they believe in, and they think they have a strategy. A strategy is much more than that. And again, I have several episodes of my Work on Your Game Masterclass where I'll talk about strategy, and the videos are here on, if you're watching this on YouTube, or you can go to workonyourgamepodcast.com, or even better, just subscribe to the podcast. And the best thing you can do is get into my university so you can actually learn how to strategize, so that you can do this over and over again in anything that you do. But the main point that I want to get through here in this video is just because you have an idea, that does not mean that you have a strategy. Damn sure doesn't mean that it's going to work. And let's say you have an idea. You want to start a business. You want to do real estate, and you want to do a YouTube channel. Let's say you do all three. And let's say none of them is making you the kind of money you want to make 6 months into the year. So now you're halfway through the year and you're still $50,000 behind on the goal that you said you were going to hit this year when it came to your finances. What you going to do? Now, if you have a strategy, you can answer that question, because your strategy will tell you what to do next. If you don't have a strategy, then you're lost, and you're talking about what God's going to do. God ain't going to do nothing but watch your ass not make that money. That's what God's going to do. Just not paying attention. I'm the one recording the video. She ain't paying attention. Anyway, the whole point is you really want to start learning how to think strategically, and it's worth it to invest in this kind of thinking, because when you learn how to think strategically, this is a skill that you can use over and over and over again. So this is an investment that you make into yourself, learning how to think strategically. And that's going to require you to be coached. It's going to require you to learn something from somebody who knows things that you don't know and has thought processes that you don't have. But again, I understand that most people aren't the type to invest in themselves. Everybody talks about these things, but most people don't do it. Again, everybody said they want to make more money next year, but are most people going to make more money? No, most people are going to make about the same amount pretty much for the rest of their lives after they hit adulthood, because most people do not grow intentionally. Most people don't change. And I already know this. I've talked about this in previous material, but I'm putting this message out there for the few of you who might be salvageable. There's a few of you out there who I might be able to help, and a few of you who might actually be serious, and you might actually do something with what I'm sharing with you right here. So that's why I'm putting this message out there. So if you got ideas of what you want to do, that's a good thing. It's good to have ideas, but understand that an idea without execution is worthless. It doesn't actually mean anything. Fuck. Idea without execution doesn't actually mean anything. It's just sitting there. And even once you have an idea, you need a strategy for actually bringing that idea to life and then making that idea turn into something. So that's something that you want to be asking yourself, how do I do that? And if you can't answer the question, which is fine if you can't answer the question, the next step is, who can help me answer this question? Go get with that person and get what you need so you can get to where you want to get to in life. Because this is life we're talking about here. This is not, we're not just talking. This is life that I'm talking about here. And again, the responses that I saw tells me that this is not an isolated incident. This is, a lot of people think like this. So with all that said, text me if you want to get my daily motivation. Tell me the best insight you got from this video. My number is 305-384-6894. It's down below in the description. And then go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. That's the best place for you to take the next step and get help from me directly on your mindset, your strategy, your systems, your personal development, and your professional development for taking yourself where you want to go, regardless of what your ideas are, regardless of what industry, you are in. Work on your game. Dre all day.